now it's been another fascinating weekend of Premier League football. It's always fascinating, of course, in its own way, but I think it's becoming also a bit tiresome seeing football without fans, and there is another unpleasant element to it now for which Sky and BT Sport are responsible. A lot of matches, for example, Liverpool's game against Sheffield United on Saturday night is pay-per-view, and people haven't really got money. And I note that there are protests in Liverpool. People are, instead of giving the £15.99 sterling to Sky, they're giving it to children's food banks. And there is great resistance to this idea of charging people extra for games, particularly people who already have a Sky or BT package. But we'll come to that. I'm joined now by John Giles to look back and reflect on the games we saw. John, we might start with Manchester United and Chelsea. Two teams have been leaking goals. Manchester United getting 6-1 spanking at home to Spurs. Chelsea 3-3 at West Brom, leaking a lot of goals too, and Frank Lampard has looked troubled. And it was clear from the start of this game, wasn't it, that Chelsea were going to get 10 men behind the ball and Manchester United weren't going to go mad either. Clean sheet.
No, they were getting 11 behind the ball, Eamon.
They were, yeah. A clean sheet really being the objective from Chelsea's point of view.
Well, it looked like it, Eamon, because it was a very dull game. And I'd say Frank Lampard at the end of the game would probably be happy, well, we got a clean sheet. But they didn't really look like scoring either. No. You know, and Manchester United weren't capable of it. They brought Cavani on, as we know,
yes.
Eamon, who did okay. It was difficult for him because Chelsea had a lot of players back. But it was a very, very disappointing game. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Now, if we look at it from United's perspective, maybe first, as you said, they brought Cavani on for the last half hour for Daniel James. Now, James came from Swansea. I think he only cost, in today's terms, relatively modest 20 million or thereabouts. And he looked very exciting when he came. It hasn't turned out that way, and he looked woefully short of confidence. Cavani came on. He's a good centre-forward, John. He scored a lot of goals in the French league. And even for the half hour he was on, you could see something there. Good runs he made in the box. And he will give them a dimension that they haven't had. And he may well also help Marcus Rashford, who is playing well. I thought played well again on Saturday. I'm looking at the score. But Rashford will find defenders worrying a lot about Cavani, about his runs. It'll give him a bit more space, and it may well benefit him.
Well, you would hope so, Eamon. I think that's the idea behind it, because they haven't had a centre-forward of that type of style for a long time.
No.
But it doesn't sound right, Mike. Eamon, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Cavani is 33 now.
Yeah.
And you would think Manchester United would be looking for an Mbappe or somebody of that calibre,
yes,
centre forward at this particular stage. You know, there must be somebody out there. I mean, I think Cavani's been a great player, a terrific player over the years. But you know, Paris Saint-Germain have let him go. He's 33 years of age. I wouldn't say he's the ideal boy for Manchester United. Now, I don't want to be harsh on him because it is early days.
Yeah.
But you would think Manchester United at this stage, would be getting a young Cavani in there.
Yeah, I don't think, and it's one of their major problems, I actually don't think players, European or British or Irish, top players, I don't think Old Trafford is a destination of choice, to be honest with you, John. If you look at the team on Saturday, with that midfield, Mata, Fred, McTominay, you're not going to win the Premier League, and it's no disrespect to Fred and McTominay in particular, who both graft away, but they're not top-class midfield players, are they?
They're okay, Eamon, but again, for Manchester United, if we're going to win things, but we must remember they have Pogba on the bench and the Beak, who they spent like 130 million between the two of them, Eamon. So you know, you say, well, what's going on there?
Well, Van de Beek in particular, we can understand why Pogba's on the bench, because he's not particularly troubled putting a shift in. Van de Beek's a good player, John. We saw him last year for Ajax in the Champions League, and he's a very, very good player. He's in the Netherlands national team as well. He hasn't started since he's been there. Obviously, it may be something to do with his fitness, but as you say, why pay? I think it costs 40 million. Why pay 40 million for a player you're not going to start?
Yeah, and I think he's very like Fernandes, Eamon.
Yep, he is. He's not. He's not a playmaker.
Not a playmaker, Eamon. He's a goal scorer. I saw him one of the matches he did come on. I think he scored actually in one of the first matches he came on.
Yeah.
But he was ahead of the ball. He looked like a goal scoring midfield player. What they need somebody in the middle of the field obviously is to get a hold of it and try and influence the game from that particular position. If you're spending that amount of money, then you don't have somebody on the... Well, two of them were on the bench, don't forget.
Yep.
And the Beak were on the bench. So,
yeah.
And Cavani is a centre forward. It's 33 years of age now. So they don't seem to be going in the right direction in getting the players in that they need.
No,
that'd be my criticism of it,
Two exceptions, John. I think Fernandes is, we both, I think, agree, an outstanding player. He's
a very good player, Eamon, at what he does, definitely. He would score goals. He's a goal-scoring midfield player.
Yeah.
And obviously they need that as well. And he has been hugely influential. But they need to get somebody in the middle of the field that's going to get a grip of it. He's not that type of player, Eamon. So they need that. And he'd get better with that type of player in.
Now, they had two great chances on Saturday, or came close to scoring twice, is probably a better way to put it. And Marcus Rashford was involved in both. First half, got played through by Juan Mata, actually. And Chelsea have a new goalkeeper, Mendy, that they spent a lot of money on. And he made a great save from Rashford with his feet. Second half, last 15 minutes, again, Rashford was the danger. Curled a lovely shot to far post, and the keeper made another great save. Rashford's playing well, John, again. He's still only 22. I think he could be in the right team and in the right circumstances. I think Rashford's a really, really talented lad.
Yeah, he's very good, Eamon. He's proven himself. Again, if he gets into a team that's well constructed, or better constructed, I think we'll see him even getting better. But he has the potential, which is great. He's a big lad, a tall lad. He's got pace. He seems to be a really good lad as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I think he'll be going back to Chelsea anyway.
Yeah.
They seem to have got a goalkeeper now. Which is hugely important for any team.
Yeah.
But Rashford, it's a question of getting his best position, Eamon. I think playing alongside a Cavani, a Cavani at his best, and not be restricted to one side or the other, he would be at his best then. That's the way I would see. That's the way I would see him.
Now, Pogba, he has been dropped for the last 3 games. He cost 100 million euros. He came on for 15, 20 minutes at the end of the game, and he pounced around the place and effectively did nothing. When you think of Manchester United's history, John, and the great players that have played for the club, including yourself, but closer to now, Keane, for example, and you see this imposter strutting around, not doing his stuff, you have to ask questions about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer again, and the presence on the training ground, in the dressing room, and of course occasionally in the team now, of this fella Paul Pogba.
Well, I don't understand it, Eamon. What I go back to, I couldn't imagine Ferguson. Ferguson's one of the great managers, as we know. Yeah. Could you imagine Ferguson putting up with him? I mean, actually, he got rid of him as a kid.
He did,
because I think he was being cheeky or too for whatever he was doing. He got rid of him, and I don't think Ferguson would had any influence in bringing him back for the 80 or 90 million quid. Eamon, and he's just a lad that seems to please himself. He's making a fortune, and I think he probably thinks he is great himself.
Yeah. But,
Solskjaer's never said a bad word about him, even though he didn't do this, and he trains well, he does this, he does that, and the other. I mean, then he's on the bench for a couple of matches. great players. You go back. You mentioned Manchester United early on at the best time, and they had Scholes and they had, Keane particularly in the middle of the field there.
Yeah.
Could you imagine them behaving
No.
the way Pogba behaves?
No, and I think
that's why they were successful, because they had players like that in their gigs and terrific players. But particularly those two, Scholes and Keane in the middle of the field.
And I think,
there was no ifs and buts about them, Eamon. Just got on and did the business.
And when we think about Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in particular, who was, an outstanding character and a great player in his own way, coming on, scoring important goals, including the one that won the Champions League. And as a man, he seems a decent guy. And, he is dignified in as far as he can. But the presence of Pogba in the team, it undermines Solskjaer. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
watched Juan Mata, just to complete the point. Juan Mata played well. He always does. He's a good pro, experienced pro. And he was taken off. And for once, he actually displayed some dissatisfaction and a bit of anger when he was taken off so that Pogba could go on. That kind of thing does hurt the coach with other players, I think. Don't you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the coach is in charge. I mean, he's like, again, you go back to Ferguson. Ferguson was in charge of the situation. Klopp is in charge of the situation. All the great managers there's no doubt they're in charge of it. And I always got the impression with Solskjaer, he knows it about Pogba and that, but can't do anything about it, Eamon.
Right.
And players, like we were players in our day. They pick it up straight away. Any weakness in the club is picked up straight away. I mean, they know it better than anybody else because they're there.
Yep.
And they see Pogba doing what he's doing, or not doing what he should be doing. They know that, and then Matt is coming off, and he's thinking, what's going on here? And all the other players are saying, what's going on here? But when they see Pogba coming on to mess around like they do, so it's just not. I don't think he's in charge of the situation at all. I mean, I think he's a decent lad. I think he's a good lad, but he's not. He doesn't have that Fergie grip.
No.
On the whole lot. On the whole lot of it.
And I'm going to qualify what I'm going to say by pointing out that they did qualify for the Champions League this season, which meant they were in the top four. And that is an accomplishment with the players at his disposal last year. However, the fact that Pogba is getting away with this, and the fact, as you point out, that Ferguson or no manager of a club like Manchester United would ever tolerate this, that he is going to cost himself his own job by not having the strength of character to manage a club of that size.
Yeah, I think, Eamon, he was delighted to get the job, and he would have taken it under any circumstances.
Yeah.
So I think the rules were laid out to him, like, this is what we want you to do, and he took it on. Yeah. And it's very, very, very hard then to change it when you get in there and see, well, this is what needs to be done. I mean, I think there's no doubt. I mean, he's definitely not in charge of the incomings and outgoings there. It just isn't.
There's an irony here, John. The incomings, a couple of them have been very good. Fernandes is a good example of that. And so is Wan-Bissaka, who was in your Player of the Year team last season. He's a good player too, and was a good buy and was good value, and will be able to play there for the next 10 years.
Yes, I agree with that, Eamon. They have brought some good players in, but then once they're brought in, they're under the charge of the manager. Yep. And I just don't think he's able to do it. I don't think he has the presence of Ferguson or a Klopp or any of the great managers to really be in charge of the situation. And that goes through a club. We were both players. You soon find out, is the manager in charge or not?
Takes
or what is he doing?
Half an hour.
Okay. And you got the likes of Mata, who's a good pro.
Yes.
Coming off, shaking his head, and he doesn't, as you say, he doesn't normally do anything at all.
No.
Shaking his head, because they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
They think, well, what am I doing here? What am I doing training? What am I doing for the team? What am I doing? And next thing, Pogba's coming on.
Yeah.
Or is it actually in the club?
Yeah.
And I said to you, I think I wasn't joking, and I know you and Lehman laughed there a few weeks ago when I said, I think Klopp wouldn't take Pogba for nothing.
No, I totally agree with you. I don't think any self-respecting coach.
But that's him. But he's at Manchester United, Eamon.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. Okay, let's leave that for a moment. There was one incident of a VAR moment in the game, and it involved Harry Maguire from, I think it was a free kick, actually, not a corner, trying to strangle Cesar Azpilicueta.
Yeah.
And the television replays showed it. It was a stonewall penalty. Nothing. You remember it?
I don't think the referee even asked for it, Eamon.
He didn't. No, but it came under the clear and obvious mistake category.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
That's when VAR should intervene and say, by the way, have a look at that.
Have a look at that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he had his... But I tell you, it's not the only time that's happened in the penalty area. It seems to now come back into the game that if you do that, it's sort of okay.
Yep.
We've seen it time after time now. The referees seem to think, well, it's become part of the game now. If you don't give it once or twice or three, then everybody and the defenders then will do it as Maguire did it. It was definitely a penalty, and always will be a penalty. Always has been a penalty. When you wrap your arms around somebody
and drag them to the floor.
Sorry, Eamon.
And drag them to the floor.
And drag them to the floor. Actually, I remember talking. We talked about on your program last year. Leeds are like that with Bielsa. Yeah. And they lost a couple of penalties on the run-in, not last year, but the year before. I think they're disciplined around the box. This is Leeds. I know we'll talk about them later on. And you pay the price somewhere along the line. Okay, Maguire got about it then. Now the referees will be looking out for it. But the fact is that they've been allowed to do it, Eamon.
Yeah. Okay. VAR, there's another...
definite penalty. Yeah, definite penalty.
Yeah, it's depressing when you see something as obvious as that. Now, let's move on to Manchester City. West Ham, Manchester City, it's a game. I was talking to you during the game. We both watched it. And I'm pleased for David Moyes and for West Ham. I like him, I admire him, respect him as a man and a coach. And Manchester City, I have to say, John, they're a shadow of the team of 2 years ago, and even a shadow possibly of the team of 12 months ago. They would have gone to West Ham. I'm sure the record books will show. And been very confident. Played West Ham off the park and scored 2 or 3 goals. Aguero back in the side, but came off with a hamstring injury, which is what tends to happen when you get into your 30s and you don't have your fitness right. They were poor, John, on Saturday. And the goal that Antonio scored for West Ham was an overhead kick. It was a good goal. But I would have blamed their new buy from Benfica, the new centre-half, Diaz. It looks like they've bought another dodgy centre-back from Portugal.
Well, I'd give him a chance, Eamon. He's only going to... I wouldn't have blamed him for the goal, actually. I thought Antonio was absolutely fantastic coming from behind him. Yeah. I don't think he had any chance of that. And Diaz, I'd give him time. I couldn't judge him from now, Eamon, to be quite honest. I just couldn't judge him. But I agree. City are not what they were. They're nowhere near it.
No.
But if you look at the team that played on Saturday, Eamon, in relation to the team that were doing their stuff, I mean, Aguero was one of the great players over the years.
Yeah.
De Bruyne didn't play. David Silva, David Silva's gone.
Yeah.
This is a totally new Manchester City team.
And Bernardo Silva came up. Bernardo Silva did start. He started the last couple of games.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Now, I thought he looked a really outstanding player when he came from Monaco. And he for a year, 18 months, he really looked outstanding. Now he looks like he's lost his confidence. He's not so involved in games. And the same could be said for Mahrez. Again, came from Leicester. Can be very good, but he's not really doing his stuff either. But their real problems are at the back. I mean, they have...
They do have problems, Emma. But if you talk about the Manchester City team, where they were playing with Aguero, and this makes them better. These players have gone. Manchester City have gone in comparison to the team that they were. But you don't lose company in Aguero and David Silva and De Bruyne didn't play. You don't replace them overnight, Eamon. So there's no doubt. I mean, in the match on Saturday, Antonio scored a great goal. Actually, Manchester City were on top. In the second half, Manchester City totally dominated and couldn't score. But that's all ifs and buts, what you should do. But there's no doubt Manchester City are nowhere near where they were.
No.
And they're nowhere near good enough now to compete with Liverpool.
No.
And just to go back to that situation, Eamon, the way things are going at the moment, it's really, really making it easier and easier for Liverpool.
Yeah, and just to underline that,
I know I'm going off the subject, but Manchester City, where their main, which would be, and you would expect to be their main contenders, they're not. But if you look at the main contenders, Spurs, Chelsea, Manchester United, they're nowhere near.
No, I just give you a fact. Pep Guardiola has made his worst start to a league season, 8 points after 5 matches ever in his career as a coach. In 12 seasons, this is the lowest he has ever been at this stage. Now, of course, with 5-6 matches in the season, it's nothing. But it is very significant as a stat. But I'm looking at their team from Saturday. Cancelo, the left back, not very good. Garcia, a centre back he bought, not very good. Diaz, we'll see, but I can tell you now he's not very good, John. Rodri in midfield, another Spaniard he bought from
I think I get the point, okay. Look, City are not what they were, and they're nowhere near where they were.
Okay.
And I think they will have a tough season. There's no doubt about it. But so will Manchester United. All the contenders, Eamon, I think they're going to leave it wide open for Liverpool to do, maybe not quite what they did last year. But if you look at the Chelsea, not going to compete. Manchester City are not going to compete.
Yeah.
United, I don't think are going to compete. Spurs, they're all in making their own way as best they possibly can. But none of those teams had a finished article in relation to what Liverpool are, in my opinion. And Liverpool, again, have made a really good signing from Wolves in Jota. Yeah. Very, very good player. I think Jota was a top player for Wolves, and I think Wolves are missing him. Actually, badly from what I've seen of them this year.
Yeah, now, Liverpool, Sheffield United on Saturday night, it was a pay-per-view game, and I think both of us said that we wouldn't pay and would feel a lot of solidarity with people who are being asked to pay for games, even though they have the Sky package. It's not the people's fault that this mess is being created where clubs have to play 3 or 4 games a week and there are extra league games in a compressed season. However, you're making a stand on this, and I decided for work reasons, for this podcast reasons, that I had to buy it. So I bought it. But I felt bad about it, and I feel bad for people. A lot of people in Liverpool, thousands of people, gave I think it's $15.99 sterling. They gave the money to a charity that's putting food on the table for hungry kids. The point being how avaricious BT Sport and Sky are being. And you didn't watch it, but I'll tell you what happened, which is a great situation. It's my dream situation, in fact. Early in the game, Sheffield United got a penalty, and our old friend VAR was there again. Now, the penalty was for a tackle made by Fabinho on the edge of the penalty area. And Mike Dean, the referee, who was a clown, if ever there was one, but he's an arrogant one, he's been around for a long time, he gave a free kick, which it wasn't. But VAR didn't question whether or not it was a free kick. Now, what VAR was interested in, was it a penalty, which Mike Dean had not given. They played the replay over, and the replay showed, first of all, in my opinion, and most people's opinion, Klopp included, it was not a foul. Because Fabinho got the ball, and he didn't really foul his opponent. So that was wrong. And it was outside the box. Therefore, no penalty, no foul. VAR decided it was a penalty. 1-0 Sheffield United. An incredible decision. But Liverpool scrambled their way back into it, John. Mane was really the difference. For Liverpool's equaliser, which Firmino tapped in, Mane got on the end of a really outstanding cross from Henderson. It was a really good cross, and he forced the keeper to parry a save, and Firmino was there to tap it in for the winning goal. Mane on the left, 1-on-1, made a little bit of space for himself, beautiful cross, and Jota came and really got high to score what was a winning goal. But it was hard work, and Sheffield United were very disciplined and very dogged, which wouldn't surprise anyone. So that's what happened, Chief. Any arguments?
Yeah. No, none at all, Eamon. I didn't see it. As you say, on principle, I missed 2 matches, Liverpool, and I missed Leeds the night before, which I would have watched. But I think it's a total scam to be charging people like they're charging people, and I just won't do it. I don't like missing the matches, but I think it's awful.
No, and you're a pensioner, and I'm a pensioner. You're a rich pensioner. Anyway,
I wish.
No, but in the Liverpool game, I have to say, there's something about they desperately miss Van Dijk. Ball's knocked into the box, and Sheffield United do knock good stuff in there. Fabinho is not a commanding player in the air, and neither is Joe Gomez. So they are going to have a problem, John.
There's no doubt, Eamon. There's no doubt. I mean, you can't
the first ball into the box, you've got to attack it. You've got to have someone in your defence who will attack that first ball. And that was Van Dijk. So they kind of had a few hairy moments, and yet they kind of got away. They got away with it. But the thing about them is, you think, okay, we haven't got Van Dijk, and they hadn't got Thiago either, who I think will come in. So Jota played in a very curious position. Didn't play where he plays for Wolves. Played on the right of midfield 3, which I don't think is his position. He's a front three man. Anyway, they scramble it. But if Mane doesn't get you, Salah will get you. If Salah doesn't get you, Henderson will get you. If he doesn't get you, Alexander-Arnold will get you. And then there's Robertson. And then there's Firmino. So they've many...
That's what all the great sides have had. They never depended on one player. You know,
no.
Again, if you go back to Manchester United in their heyday, I mean, they had players all over the pitch, you know, whether it be Beckham or Keane or Scholes or Giggs. All these... That's what a team does. I mean, they'll miss Van Dijk. Any team would miss Van Dijk.
Yes.
But they'll still be better than the others, Eamon.
Yes,
that's the main thing.
No, I think you're right. They're joint top of the table at the moment, but they will, I think, be fine. They'll be okay even without Van Dijk. And the more you think about that, you know, the sadder it really is. Just let me go to Everton, who are joint top with Liverpool. Now, a match you did see, John.
Yes, I did. I saw that match.
Southampton burst the Everton bubble 2-0.
Yeah.
And this fella is this Austrian coach. He's done really well there because he should be dead. They lost 9-0 at home to Leicester last year.
Same. This time last year.
Same day. And this guy, Ralph Hasenhüttl, he's Austrian.
Hasenhüttl, I have. Hasenhüttl.
Hasenhüttl, yeah. He really kept his nerve, didn't slag his players, and they are now a really decent side. Danny Ings is a very good player. This fellow Ward-Prowse is a good player. But you saw the game, John, because it was for free. Well, it wasn't for free. You paid your Sky package.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely, Eamon. They deserved to win. They played well. They had Ings, as you say, is a very good player, and a lad Adams up front who scored. And they're a really, really good partnership up front, Eamon. But overall, I was surprised because I was tipping Everton to be really, really good this year. Well, they could still be good, but they were outplayed, Eamon.
Yeah,
totally outplayed. There was no look about it. There was no controversial goals or anything from the start to the finish. They deserved to win. Everton had a player sent off. Ancelotti was wasn't too happy about it. I thought he deserved to be sent off.
Yeah.
But from the start, Saints were good, and they definitely deserved to beat Everton on the day.
Yeah, and they were looking like they were struggling for a lot of last season, but they, in the end, they comfortably stayed in the division, and it's good to see a club. It's a remarkable club, Southampton. They've produced so many good players who've gone on and been good players elsewhere. Mo Salah, Mane is one.
Yeah.
Mane is only one of many good players.
Over the years, Eamon.
Yep.
Over the years they've produced players and they've sold them, and they're still there. Like they'll be a middle of the table, I think, at the worst Premiership team this year. Looking at them from the weekend, they were very, very good.
And Danny Ings is outstanding. He had terrible injury. He went from Burnley to Liverpool, got a terrible injury, but he's fought his way back, and he is a really outstanding player. And I think he was in the England squad.
He scored,
and got into the team in the recent Nations Cup game. Now, finally, John, Leeds United, Patrick Bamford gets a hat-trick. He's only scored one goal in the last 2 years. We could have...
Actually, he's done well this year, Eamon.
He scored six.
That was his six goals he scored this season. Anyway, go on.
Well, we could have had him for Ireland. He qualifies to play for Ireland, but I don't think... apparently, he's a highly intelligent fellow. He's a bit arrogant and a bit of a character. But I always thought I'd have him out of the team because he didn't get enough goals. But he got 3. Which is at Aston Villa, who the previous week had beaten the champions Liverpool 7-2. Which leads me to this question, John. Why are there so many bizarre results, if you like? And what effect is it having on players now over the long haul that they're playing in empty stadiums? Home games don't really feel like home games, and also the games are coming at the players so thick and fast. John, there's Champions League again this week. Then there's the Carabao Cup. Then there's another international break. You know, it's not normal, is it?
No, well, it's not normal times, Eamon.
No.
Sorry, just to finish on Leeds. Before I have an Irish friend here, and he said he's going to watch the match on Friday night. I said, I'm not watching it. And he said, what do you think? I said, I don't fancy Leeds because I saw them play against Wolves. I said, but nobody scored goals.
Yeah.
And then I find out you ring me. I said, Bamford scored 3. Bamford. I was giving Bamford, I was highly critical of him, saying, well, he's a good player, he's a good all-round player, but he doesn't get goals. And that was the problem with Leeds against Wolves early on in the week. I said they were on top, but they can't score, and I don't fancy them against Villa.
I'll tell you what, John, I saw the goals, and 2 of them were absolutely goal of the season stuff. Really, really great. So maybe he's found some confidence.
Well, I hope so. Well, he scored 6 goals this season now, and I didn't expect him to score 10 for the whole season. Okay. But anyway, that's it. But sorry, we were mentioning the situation now. Well, first of all, I mean, they're playing too many matches, and they have to do that because of the times that's in it. These are not normal times. No. I mean, don't forget, if they weren't playing in empty stadiums, there'd be no matches at all.
No, absolutely no.
And the game would be finished.
Yeah.
I mean, they go broke, so we have to put up with what they're doing. I don't think it's affecting them as much as you think it's affecting them. Right. Some of the matches are really good. Where has it affected Liverpool, for example? To get out and do their stuff, they have to do it.
Yeah.
It's not ideal. Of course, we'd like to have the crowds back and have the atmosphere there.
Yeah.
But if we don't do what we're doing, Eamon, there'll be no matches at all.
No.
So that's it.
We'll have to settle for what we've got then, Chief.
Definitely. Well, what's the alternative, Eamon?
We could always watch.
What's the alternative? We don't have.
You could watch the darts or EastEnders.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't be watching that for very long, Eamon, either. No, I think what's happened is good. I know the amount of matches is, and I think definitely they should have done something about the FA Cup matches, the All League Cup. Whether they don't have any replays or no extra time and no penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
They definitely should be doing as much as they can. But it's greed again, Eamon. The FA won't give up the cup. Whoever's sponsoring the League Cup won't give that up.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It's too many matches for players anyway. But from what we've had, then one season's running into the next. I mean, the Nations Cup, for example, wasn't cancelled. All those particular things, they should be giving the players a break. And it's not fair on them. But
no.
There's nothing we can do about that at the moment.
And the League Cup is sponsored by, it's called the Carabao Cup. So I've no idea what the Carabao is, and I don't care. And I'm not going to pay any more money to Sky than I have to. But
you just want Liverpool play, Eamon.
Well, but a lot of Liverpool fans are not the most wealthy people in the world. But this is it's a cruel trick to play on people in a pandemic. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of whom have lost their jobs and their income and are really struggling and worried about other things. To put a surcharge really, on football games is a disgrace. Okay, John, thank you very much for joining us today. And the next time there's a match you can't afford, I'll give you a running commentary, especially if Patrick Bamford is on the rampage. Thanks very much to John Giles.